Hello, my name is Lydia Baker. I'm co-host of Introverted Indies, and today I'm going to do a reading from my book, The Things We Left Behind, which actually comes out tomorrow, the 30th of April. It's available from Amazon in paperback, as an ebook, and on KU. So let me just read you the blurb, and then I will do my reading. Decades after nuclear war destroys the world, only two places of safety remain, the island and the haven, one of slavery and one of control. Both are places to be feared. This is something Minnow knows firsthand. After she escapes the island, Minnow roams an irradiated world until she encounters Caleb, a man with nothing left to lose. For the first time in her life she is cared for and protected. When a strange signal comes from a place called Eden, a place claiming to be one of true freedom, Caleb and Minnow prepare to go. However, Caleb's sudden death on the day they are due to leave destroys the future Minnow foresaw, and all he leaves her are letters, a gun, and an instruction. Find Rafe. Follow him. But Rafe is not all he seems, and the path he needs Minnow to take is one she is not sure she can follow, even if the future of humanity lies in the balance. So this is a little bit from the first chapter, and the book is also set in a series of narrative and a series of letters. So I read you a little bit from the first chapter and a little bit from one of the letters. Minnow could still smell him. He was always cold flesh and winter winds, skin pink with bitterness, as his dark, hulking form had pushed back the heavy door to the room she sat in, waiting. Now all she could taste was the tang of death. It was thick in the air, mixed with stone, books, earth, and the choking smoke from the fireplace embers. The last words she had said to him had left her lips like a whip. She could still picture his face. The hurt and the pain those words caused would be forever emblazoned on her brain. That anger that had burned so readily had faded the moment she had stepped outside the library's warmth and into the perpetually abandoned streets. And now the sorrow that stung behind her eyes and clenched at her throat gagged her. Words that had once flowed so freely were now stuck like dust on her tongue. Minnow stumbled over to where Caleb lay prone. His eyes were still a little open as she pressed a pale hand to her lips, the other reaching for the sleek young lion named Cub, who grumbled at her side. "Preach," she mouthed. Dropping her bag to the floor, her hand reached for his face, his name barely escaping her lips. Minnow tried to call him. He was sleeping, just sleeping. He had to be. Her fingers gripped his shoulders, knuckles white as she shook him. His head lolled to one side. Feeling her heart drum against her chest, Minnow stepped back, biting her lip hard, trying to ground herself with a sharp prick of pain. Yet the wood and panelled room she stood in seemed to shrink around her. She had seen death, had been the one to cause it. Death had followed her across the sea in a small supply ship, then thrown her against the rocks and washed her up in the surf along with the bodies of her friends, but it had never been like this. Seeing Preach felt like the first time all over again. The wave of nausea, the urge to turn and run was the same. Preach? Caleb? His real name was strange on her lips. He remained silent. He could have been sleeping. He didn't look so different to her. But something had been sucked from him. Maybe it was the pallor of his face, or the hollowness of his cheeks, that Minnow had never noticed before. Age seemed to have crept up on him in the hours she had been outside stamping her feet and slashing at trees, teenage fury burning beneath her milk-white skin. Okay, and this is just a little bit from one of the letters that Caleb writes. He writes them to God and to Minnow. God, if I don't write these things down, forcing them onto paper to become tangible and real, they will always haunt me. They will linger in each footstep so my feet stumble. They'll lurk in the darkened corners, waiting for the moment when my back is turned and my fire is low. I will forever be on edge, never quite sleeping, never quite resting, always watching, waiting, trembling. I know that you are all seeing and all knowing, but I haven't been all forthcoming. I have to be free of the things I have done and the things I have seen, if not for me, then for her. Now that she is here, I have to be free. It's been 32 years since the world exploded, and the silence replaced the life that once swarmed the streets outside the library. I've walked more miles of radiated barren ground than I care to remember, seen more blood, more bodies, and cried more tears. I've only had 4 years with Minnow, though, but those short years have been better than the decades that preceded them. I had lost everything, my family, my friends, my church, my faith, and may as well have been dead. In the time before Minnow I filled the void with noise, be it the squeal of a wooden chair leg on the stone floor, coughs and grumbles, my own agonizing cries of loneliness, or the whistle of a solitary tune. My voice always sounded too small. like a pip in the vast expanse of nothing. But over time I grew to appreciate the stillness, to hear your voice again when the air stood still. My words cast into the emptiness were absorbed by a growing collection of things left behind. Treasures, books, photos, toys, and even laptops and phones. My goal had been to find the memory boxes and rediscover the people behind them. So I let the boxes talk to me. I listened to the memories that each precious item held, to the small voices that I coaxed out with time and patience, cleaning and restoring. During those 32 years, the silence was the worst thing. I longed for the chatter of other people, the sound of footsteps on the street outside, but there was nothing but the blip of the Geiger counter. In my sanctuary, in the silence pressed in on me, crushing the air from my lungs and squeezing my mind so that the thoughts flew away like dandelion seeds caught in the wind. Or worse, they didn't let me go. There are the thoughts of all I've done wrong, all the pain I've caused, the things I would do differently. Mostly my thoughts were of them, my girls. Eventually the silence became thin. It clung to me now and then, pressed in on me every so often, but I was comfortable in it. It knew me, and I knew it. Time passed, sometimes in small fragments, often in great swathes, rushing past me like the cars I used to drive. But now she is here. I count the time in seconds. I feel each one slip away from me as I try and hold on to it with trembling hands. I need more. There's a sense of urgency about people when they catch a whiff of their death in the wind. I want to say that I'm different and I don't feel the hands of time in quite the same way, but I do. There is still more I haven't found, still stories to be told, souls to reunite, still precious things to be rescued. So The Things We Left Behind is actually out tomorrow, the 30th of April. And yeah, thank you for listening.